This exhibition is Clara Liddén, The Myth of Progress, and this is the first presentation in Ireland of Clara Liddén's work. The Myth of Progress really looks at Liddén's career and all her medium. We have paintings, sculpture and installation. Liddén is an artist born in Stockholm in 1979, but currently based in Berlin. At the Irish Museum of Modern Art, we were looking at the notion of the exhibition and what to call it, and Liddén wanted to call this whole show The Myth of Progress. The Myth of Progress relates to 20th century philosophy about looking at the ideas of progress in society and how that is used to have a tension between the notion of urban space and also institutional space. Crucially, Liddén's work is that she scavenges the kind of urban landscape and uses her tool as a radical weapon to look at the spaces. All the works relate to her own size, her own body, and that actually connects with all the work. She uses found material from cardboard, she uses constructions that she brings back to the museum. For this exhibition, it's important to say that Clara Liddén comes from an architecture background, and at the Irish Museum we also have a show in October opening alongside Clara Liddén by the late Eileen Gray. Both Eileen Gray and Clara Liddén studied architecture, but also shows the flexibility and awareness of space, practice, but also the use of tool making and materiality. Clara Liddén also made a new piece for the Irish Museum, which is called Merchant's Arch. My colleague and co-curator Karen Sweely will explain more about this piece, as it was made in Temple Bar especially for the show.
We're standing in the landing space at IMA, and this is a new work by Clara Liddén, taken in 2013. It's titled Merchant's Arch and it was taken during Clara's trip to Dublin to research the exhibition. It's sited in the Temple Bar area of Dublin, an area familiar to most passers-by and people travelling through the city. It's part of a series of 6 works included in this exhibition that are sea prints, performance-based works sited in areas that the artist has travelled to during her research as an artist, such as New York, San Antonio, Berlin and in Dublin. Frequently in her work, Clara Liddén questions the notion of civil disobedience, at times in a humorous way, often slapstick as we can see here, and in subtle and intelligent ways, never bordering on the intimidatory. We see here the artist acting as protagonist, as she frequently does in her work, with legs akimbo coming out of a trash can. She has used trash cans frequently in her work, in works such as the work she included in the Venice Biennale.
For this exhibition, The Myth of Progress, there's 2 other important elements to discuss today, which is music and also the notion of the performative self that Liddén uses. Almost like Joan Jonas, Liddén cleverly and kind of subtly uses this urban landscape for her own use. We're now going to go to Vary Claffey, who is an independent curator, who will examine through various pieces the music and the performative aspect.
This is Moonwalking, or The Myth of Progress, which is also the title of the whole of this exhibition. And it features Clara doing a very expert moonwalk through the streets of New York. Again, with this kind of casualness, at certain points she's smoking a cigarette. She's completely oblivious to the backgrounds and what's going on behind her, in a way that makes it almost seem like a computer game with a lot of stimulated backgrounds going on. So expertly done, but at the same time so casually performed. Again, claiming a particular kind of ownership of the surroundings, the environment, the city. And the soundtrack to this is made by a group of Clara's friends based in Stockholm. And unusually, the soundtrack is what comes first in these works. Clara hears the music and then makes a work in and around it. These are Clara Liddén's poster paintings, which are a series of works made in Berlin from appropriated collections of posters that Clara finds on the walls throughout the city. And when they reach a certain heft, a certain weight, she'll take them down, appropriate them from the walls, and cover them in a couple of layers of white paper, blanking out all information so that they just become these objects that house the memories and information and materiality of a whole series of past events that are kind of unknowable to us, except through possibly kind of trying to read through the colours and the kinds of paper and the kinds of clues that are there about what might have happened. So they're kind of object representation of a series of events and actions that happen through the city, stolen by an artist on her bicycle with a big basket at the front of it that she uses to collect all of these. So these are all from Berlin, where she lives now, but also this kind of action, these kinds of posters happens, she's noticed, in both Copenhagen and Mexico City.